the idea of seeking it out everywhere you can, trying to get your name on every list. I'm not really seeing that amongst at least the people in my community. I'm not seeing it around me.
Right. Let's just go straight to the Switch 2 stuff and talk about that, because that is the big deal today. The big deal today is the Switch 2. And we'll talk on all the other stuff here, but let's talk Switch 2 first.
I have a quick question for you, Craig, if you don't mind me asking. Because I've been feeling like there hasn't been much hype around it. And I was told by our Sam here, who works here, that it was marketed towards adults. I'm curious if you have kids, if you've been hearing any of them or their friends talking about it. Is this a big to-do with them, or is it just our age group?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. No, I think that most of it's our age group that's excited. It's the people with expendable income that are going out and buying. And I think that that's actually reflected in the launch lines that you see. I don't see many kids in the lines. The ratio of adult to kid is way higher than adult. Like, you would think that it'd be a mom and their children, maybe perhaps a dad and their kids, stuff like that, waiting in line. But no, that's not the case. My 13-year-old, she plays the Switch. She likes the Switch a lot. She playing through Zelda again right now. She did not know what was coming out. She had no idea. She was like, "Is like the Switch 2 coming out soon or something?" You know, my wife actually told her yesterday. Yeah, it starts tomorrow. But my youngest daughter has no idea. Honestly, doesn't really care. Now, they play games. They're not like gamers, right? But I think the most people who are standing in line right now are the hardcore 35-year-old dude, you know, who's going out and wants to play the Switch 2 on launch day, or a streamer, you know. I'm sure that there's plenty of hype, but I have not been in. I'm not in and around the Nintendo fan sites on a day-to-day basis anymore. And like, this is going to sell like crazy. We all know it's going to sell like crazy. But I just don't know if there's that. Maybe it is me. That vibe that you've had in previous years for the Xbox 360, for the Wii. I go back to, for me personally, when the Wii was launched, that was like, I stood in line for the Wii. I stood in line for the PlayStation 3. And I'm very glad that like the launch line has returned. Specifically, like at GameStops and your retailers. That's one thing that we've seen, and that I think that's the best thing to come out of this launch. Is there's a cultural aspect to the release of the Switch 2, and getting people together, waiting in line all night, having that bonding experience with 50 strangers you've never met before that you'll forget after they leave, but you'll always have this one moment together, right? I think that's probably the best thing to come of the Switch 2 personally, or of an event like this. So yeah, I as far as the vibe goes, I think it really kind of depends on your age group, but I do think it's mostly an adult thing. For sure.
I just remember the first Switch, it was inescapable. Like, everywhere you went, it was there. I mean, granted though, like, it was a big to-do then. Like, no one had seen something like this, where you had this console and something that was portable. So I can understand why that was a big to-do then. But even in online circles, I haven't seen a whole lot outside of the mega fans. I haven't seen the same hype. So I'm really curious to see how this thing does on its launch. I wonder how much of that price really put a sour taste in people's mouths.
That's a good question. I don't know about that. I really don't. It's funny because I'm just going down the line here. I'm looking at these. I just searched Nintendo Switch 2 lines on X, and let me just kind of pull up some of the images that we see. And I think that a lot of these are like, just look at the demo here, right? By the way, once again, please tell me again about how gaming is 50% female. Please, for the love of God, tell me that. Yeah. Right? Go down the list here. Let's just expand this out. Just tell me when we see a woman. Oh, there's a girl in the background there. Okay, that's good. Let's see.
With her boyfriend or husband or brother or somebody.
Okay, so look, there's a woman right there.
Yep.
I think.
Those numbers have always just been basically like Candy Crush mobile numbers, right? Like, that's what that is.
Right. We all understand that here. By the way, it looks like Boogie was in line to get a Switch 2. Boogie 2988. That's
too skinny to be Boogie.
No, Boogie's lost a little bit of weight. Here you go. This is 80 people. Lives of the Switch 2. There's a child, but once again, look at all the dudes just hanging out. Just a bunch of dudes hanging out, waiting for their Switch 2. Switch 2 lining around the block. There was one. There you go. Wait, did they seriously try to edit Best Buy out right here?
Oh.
What is that?
How stupid.
Maybe it's a wholesale Best Buy / 50 off.
Right. I don't know. This whole conversation around the Switch 2 is and kind of the hype behind it is an interesting one. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a large demand for it. Look at all those dudes. It's neat to see it released. I'm excited for everyone who's really, really excited for this. Like I said, for me, I go back to my experiences of I stood outside of a Best Buy for 5 days before the PlayStation 3, and it was an event, man. It was an event, and I do very much like that aspect of it. For sure.
What would have got you out there? Like, what would have, let's say you had no responsibilities, Craig, or anything like that. Like, what would have got you online with this system right now?
Okay, so that's actually like a really good question, right? And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Nothing, right? I thought about going out and like this morning, I was like, I called Costco yesterday and I was like, you guys gonna have like Switch 2s? And they're like, yeah, we'll have.
But we'll never know.
They'll have like 64 of them. And then she's like, well, you better be here at 8:45. And I was like, what's 8:45? She's like, well, that's when we open. I was like, okay, so I need to be there at like midnight, right? Really, if you want to get something at Costco. And then I thought to myself, like, is it really worth it? Do I really care that much? And will I have the opportunity to go and pick it up at a later time, right? Because it's funny. I was watching a streamer the other day, and they were talking about this. Like I love games. I've always loved games, but I would not consider myself a hardcore video gamer by any means today. Right? Games are a part of my life. They will always be a part of my life. But I think as you get older, you have other responsibilities. I was listening to the Unsubscribe podcast, and they were talking about this, and they said, sometimes when you sit down and you play games, like they're meant to be an enjoyment. But there are so many times where I sit down and I play games, and I'm thinking, oh man, I really got to cut the lawn, or oh man, I could be doing something to make money right now, or I could be doing something. You know what I mean?
My children are stealing the car. I need to,
and that's where like my responsibilities as a dad have superseded my responsibilities as a gamer, if that makes sense. My responsibilities as a business owner, right? That still doesn't mean that I don't love games. I very much love games, right? This is a gaming podcast. It's literally why we do it. We talk about the culture of games all day long. Otherwise, we wouldn't talk about it if I didn't care about it. But I just don't have that interest to go and wait in line for 12 hours. Like I feel like I've passed that point. And if that's something my kids wanted to do, I would absolutely do that. Right. But for me personally, going to stand in line for that long, I don't have a whole lot of interest in doing that right now. So I know that there's a lot of people who feel just like me. There's a ton of people that feel just like me. So if that makes sense, which I'm sure it doesn't to any people. And people are going to take that and be like, Craig hates video games. No, that's not what I said, you idiots. But people will take that and clip it and be like, how do you run a video game podcast and not play video games 24 hours a day? It's like, because I'm not fucking retarded. All right. That's right. So,
took it one step further.
That's right.
That's because you're all retarded.
Anyways, so I saw this earlier, and let's actually talk about the Switch 2. I saw this clip, and there was a lot of people talking about like the price of the games, and I thought this was really, really funny. So here we go.
What is wrong with you guys, man? You have no value for money. You don't understand anything. You guys are stupid. The Switch 2 has no games at launch, and you're still gonna buy that shit? You guys are just cucked out, man. That's why I understand value, and I bought a 5090 because value for money is important. But Nintendo guys don't understand this stupid shit. You can't help them. So if you bought a Nintendo Switch, sort your life.
Did you see the end? Did you see it, Blabs?
No, play it again.
Yeah,
he's got it right behind him.
That's the whole joke.
Oh,
the whole
he was
joke.
a Sony pony for a second in hiding. Okay.
No, the idea is that he's like everyone's a hypocrite. Everyone's over here going like, "Oh, you idiots," whatever. So, and of course he's got it in the background. That's good stuff. I really enjoyed that tweet. That is from Septic Sauce over on X. All right, so let's go.
Name.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. Also, very odd name. All right, so let's talk about this. The stores open at midnight as fans rush to buy the Switch 2. Like I said, we know this is going to be massive. This is going to be huge. The Nintendo Switch 2 has been released worldwide with stores opening at midnight, so fans could get their hands on the long-awaited console the moment it became available. Some shops have the devices available to buy off the shelf, but in most cases, customers have been picking up consoles they have ordered in advance, with UK retailer Curry's suggesting its, quote, biggest gaming pre-order ever. Right there. That's quite the statement right there. Despite the excitement, there have been some setbacks with one supplier, Game, canceling some pre-orders. That's like their version of GameStop over in the UK. In the US, Nintendo briefly pulled Switch 2 pre-orders in April over concerns over tariffs before starting again a few weeks later. That doesn't appear to have put fans off with queues forming at stores around the world as gamers vied to become the first to unbox their new console. So and once again, here's a bunch of lines of folks all the way around, all people excited for their Switch 2. Obviously, it is a big deal. We all understand this. It's a very, very big deal. So people are very, very excited. Anytime a new console is released, it's a big deal. Now, we saw this story a couple days ago, Blabs, before it was released. Talk about this King of the Scalpers guy.
Right, so there's like this giant, as they call it, King of the Scalpers, where people were getting them before launch, if I'm not mistaken. I read this days ago, so I don't exactly remember all like, what it said, but it said, let me just read the whole article then. Though the Nintendo Switch 2's official, well, because I did read it days ago, you think I remember stuff. Though the Nintendo Switch 2 official release is June 5th, this hasn't stopped some from reselling the console and promising to deliver it before the destined date. Japanese reseller Katori Inoki, who call themselves the King of the Scalpers on X, recently put up 110 Switch 2 consoles for sale at an increased price, all of which have been sold out.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's crazy. Let's see how much they sold for.
Ton of resold units are regular Switch 2s, while the remaining 100 units come bundled with Mario Kart World. For price comparisons, the regular Switch 2 costs 49,980 Japanese yen, while the Mario Kart World bundle costs 69,980 Japanese yen in Japan. Considering the increased prices are still cheaper than the units meant for other countries, and the buyers will be able to get the consoles before the official launch, it's no surprise that all of the resold units sold out in a couple of days. So this isn't really surprising to me, to be honest.
Well, no, of course not. People, the FOMO is real, right? People want to be the first. They want to be the best. They want to get out there. They want to be excited, and they want to stream the games as fast as they possibly can. You know, and hey,
that money, make the money back after splurging on the Switch 2.
Okay, so whether or not you're excited for the Switch 2, take that out of it, right? Let's just say you have whatever product that you're excited for. Blabs, it's a new Harry Potter movie, right, with the original cast, and they're all
it's a Cabbage Patch Kid.
Okay, and yeah, Phoenix, it's a Cabbage Patch Kid, right? Let's just say you had the opportunity to see the movie before it came out, Blabs, in your case in particular. How much? Let's say the movie was $15 to go see. Mm-hmm. How much? If you could see it 5 days before everybody else, you and you alone, it was just for you in a special theater, would you pay to see it early?
Maybe. Yeah, it'd have to be. I can't answer that 100% yes or no. It depends on everything.
Well, Blabs,
would it be for like the fans? Like you want to be around the fans for that kind of thing?
Yeah, but also like if I know the plot's gonna be shit, then I have really no desire to play it or watch it early. You know, it's all about the context.
You're lying.
No, I'm genuinely serious
Nope,
here.
you're lying.
Okay.
You're lying. No, 100%. You're saying this, but the reality is that if it happened, you would be the first in line because you're the one who's on Universal's website every day hoping to
No,
see
it's every Wednesday, actually, because I know when they drop the merch.
There you see, that's the issue, right? You say no.
Code.
You're trying to play it both ways, but the reality is that you know you'd be the first one in line buying tickets on Wednesday at whatever time. What time, Blabs?
Oh, they drop it by like 10 a.m. Eastern.
10 a.m. Eastern. You'd be the first one in line going.
But I don't buy. Okay, so here's the thing: I don't buy everything that I see on the website. I'm very picky when it comes to the merch, which is why I'm saying it depends on the whole context of everything. If I like what I see, like with the trailer and everything, then hell yeah. If I see it, I'm very underwhelmed, and I'm not going to spend extra money to go watch something that I don't have a huge desire to see. It's like why I've never even seen the Cursed Child play because I read the script. I know it's shit.
Yeah, but nobody has any idea what the Cursed Child play is except for you, right?
What? Phoenix knows?
So, anyways,
that's two.
I think it's just big lies. Big lies.
No, it's called being logical.
What just to make this go easier? Okay, it's something you're actually interested in, Blabs.
Oh, no. Hold on, stop.
If it's 100% something that I'm super interested in, that I'm like, wow, this cannot go wrong. Holy hell, this is a fantastic thing. Oh yeah, I'll spend money to see it early for sure. But if it's something I'm very meh about, no.
Logical people don't know when the latest merch drops are.
I do. I'm logical. I didn't buy anything on Wednesday when new merch dropped.
No, but the point is Blabs, we're not talking about merch.
I didn't spend money researching now, did I?
Blabs, we're not talking about merch. We're talking about a lore building film. Right? That would ultimately create the merchandise that you want. So yes, I think the movie
it's gonna be no. You see, you're not understanding this, Craig.
Yes,
you're
I am.
Understanding. No, you're not.
First in line.
If it breaks the lore, and I know it's gonna break the lore, I'm not gonna spend money to see in advance. Hell no.
I hate this conversation because you're lying. It's everyone in the chat knows it. We know it. This is just fucking tedium. This.
Are you serious right now? Do you guys know me at all?
We do.
Yes, we do. Exactly. We know you very well, which is why we think that it's. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so the Switch 2 was released today, and people are now taking a. Blast is so mad right now.
I'm mad at you right now. Yeah.
Oh, Blaz, ultimately just be mad at yourself because
I'm not mad at myself. I'm doing pretty damn good. Thank you.
It's like the little teapot. All right. So one of the things about the Nintendo consoles that everybody loves and everybody has is the Miis, right? When you get to make your own Mii. But you see the newest updates for the Miis? They are now genderless on the Switch 2 here, Blabs. So you just have the select a style for your Mii.
Really? Wait.
Not male or female.
I don't remember even how it was for like the Wii Miis. Did they even have male and female?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember the dress and everything, right? But I don't remember seeing male, female. I just remember like pick, and then you could do whatever the hell you wanted with it.
Mm-hmm. No, you can go in and it was super easy how to do it. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, here's a video on how to make a hamburger Mii. These were very popular back in the day on the Wii. You can go and create your own.
Oh, I love the theme song for the Wii.
See, look, it has man and female right there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways,
it's been a hot minute since I made Gaylord, so I really can't remember.
Is that his name?
Yeah, I made Gaylord Fokker. He kind of looks like Michael Jackson, but he's got a giant mole. So, like Robin Hood Men in Tights, like, I have a mole. Like, that's that. But he's got a dress. Dude, my sister and I went wild. His name was Gaylord Fokker, and he was the odd one out because it would be like me, my sister, my mom, my dad on the Wii, our friends. And then all of a sudden, boom, Gaylord.
Let's go. All right, nice. Well, it looks like Nintendo has jumped down that rabbit hole of deciding not to know what male and female is. What? why? What is the purpose of this? I don't understand, but that's where we're at right now. So you can, it's like, if you look at the text here, the style you select for your Mii might be reflected as a specific gender in some software, right? They had to put a freaking line, like a line in there, a warning. Just so you know, you may be triggered, you mentally healthy people.
Trigger warning.
That's what I was actually going to ask. I wonder if this is like this in Japan.
Oh, great question.
Good question. Blabs, see if you can find it.
We'll never know what Craig was saying.
Switch to create your Mii over in Japan. That's yeah.
I'm looking.
Please do. While Blabs looks at that, some people have been less than impressed, specifically with the Mario Kart World, and oddly enough, IGN is one of them. IGN came in with this as that sense of wonder you so often feel when discovering something off the beaten track in a video game just doesn't seem to exist in Mario Kart World. It's largely empty, lacks atmosphere, and feels bizarrely devoid of activities to get stuck into. Huh. Interesting.
That's been everywhere. I've been hearing that the open world aspect is the huge letdown of this game. Every review site you go to is kind of saying the same thing.
And it's funny because this isn't even pertaining to like Mario Kart World, but that's what I keep seeing about so many games lately who keep doing these big open worlds, is that they're so vast and empty. And it's like, don't you developers learn? Anyway. Because I've been saying that for like years now. I'm like, this thing is so open world. It's boring. There's nothing here.
I don't. When they announced that, I was not super excited for that. Like on the surface, you go like, well, it's Nintendo. So Nintendo could have some really good visions for this. But like, I don't have a whole lot of interest in driving to the next destination for me personally, right? For me, the joy of Mario Kart is playing for 3 minutes and then taking a second and then playing for another 3 minutes, getting through. And that downtime is actually really important as far as talking smack to folks, you know, when you're playing Mario Kart. So I have seen some funny moments from Mario Kart and the gameplay in the world elements. And it does, like, if you are a Mario Kart hardcore fan, then you're going to love it. But Mario Kart is a casual game. That's what makes Nintendo games so spectacular, is that anybody can play them, but very few can master them. And that's what makes a great game. That's what makes a Nintendo game a Nintendo game. I just don't feel... Now, you can bypass the open world stuff in Mario Kart World. I know that. That's good. You can just play the circuit if you want to. So, but I don't know if... I'd be interested to see a breakdown, which we'll never see, but an individual breakdown of the statistics for how many players actually play the open world aspect of Mario Kart World versus just the circuit itself.
Whoever, like, no one ever, when you were around with friends and you're talking about what the next Mario Kart's going to be, no one ever said, boy, I hope they add a huge exploration world. Like, that never, ever happened.
I agree. I don't think it's ever been asked before. I don't think I've ever really been concerned about going and seeing how somebody got to the Indy 500 and how they loaded up the trucks and stuff. Right. Like I just,
it's missing the point. It's like the new Street Fighter. You can walk around town and use your points you earned and buy shit in between fights. Like, no one would ever want to play that. That's not why you play Street Fighter.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to see. It's kind of falling flat a little bit, but now that it's out in the public, we'll see how everybody feels about this. So, all right. Well, things have not gone exceptional for, even if you did get a Switch 2, it hasn't really gone over great for some people, including this person over here on X. Oddhen Lynch says GameStop stapled the receipt for me and my friend's Switch 2 to the box. My life over here, and you can see here the receipt here. Now, there's one major issue with this, is that it made its way through all of it onto the actual Switch console itself. So,
that is awful. Imagine waiting in line and everything, and then the fucking idiot at like the cash register is like, thunk, and it puts a hole in your screen.
What a bummer, huh?
And that's got it says it has to wait 3 months to restock. Like, dude.
So yeah, as he points out, everybody who's in line here will probably have the exact same issue.
Because there was multiple people in that Xerta article. I swear I read that it was multiple people who had that issue. It wasn't just one person who had a broken screen.
Rough stuff.
That's so stupid. Like, how dumb are we?
Well, that's not a Switch 2 issue. That's a
no. That's a dumbass retailer. Like, hello, Logic, no.
Yeah.
On a side note, before we move on, I just wanted to say that I've been looking to try to find a Japanese Mii creator, and I can't find it. So then I went to Google Translate, and I was like, "Switch to Mii create," and I basically got the Japanese text and went to YouTube to try to find it that way. But unfortunately, I cannot find it still. So maybe we're a bit too early. I don't know, but I can't find a Japanese Switch 2 making a Mii.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Kratos says the cross-country race mode with friends is intense. It's not just driving to the next track. I want to do a full-on race that hits every single track. My friends and I are loving doing 16 race cups in Mario Kart 8. Thanks, Kratos. Appreciate that, man. That's good. We'll get you guys have a lot to say about this, and we appreciate it. We'll get to all your super chats here in just a minute. Let's continue on with our Switch discussion. One of the things that people were actually genuinely excited about was the release of the GameCube games that were going to be on the Switch 2. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And once again, they're not on the Switch, only on the Switch 2. But did you know that the GameCube Switch 2 controller actually includes a gyroscope in it? I did not know this when I saw this. You can kind of see the movement here. This is in the cat
It's actually really cool.
You like that?
I think it's kind of cool. It kind of gives me Wii vibes. There you go. That's the word.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's kind of cool. I like the cat too. Going, what the fuck?
It only makes sense if you can turn it off. Personally, like
True.
I can't do that with games. I remember playing a few like FPS games where you could not turn off the gyroscope, or it was part of it. Looking up and down by holding the controller, and it was screw up my aiming. So
it also depends on how well the technology is, right? Because let's say you try using the Wii remote now, like 20 years, well, not 20 years, but almost 20 years later, and it's not doing well, like at all. It's super hard to control the Wii remotes. So I'm hoping the technology is a lot better now, that in like 20 years it'll still work properly well, or else you're gonna have a fun time.
Well, even if you recall, even when the Wii was released, the Wii controller had an update. They had the Wii Motion Plus.
Yeah, I have those. And it came out with the Wii Sports Resort too, and they gave you an extra one.
That's right. You had to buy Wii Sports Resort to get the Wii Motion
to get it for
Plus.
free, yeah. I actually really love the Wii Sports Resort. Top tier.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Which is great. So what about those GameCube games? They have announced 3 games are launching on the Switch 2 today. And all 3 games are bangers. They're pretty good stuff. Let's check out. We got the Wind Waker, F-Zero GX, and Soul Calibur 2. Here's the trailer they played for it. And so we don't get flagged for audio, we'll do that. So yeah, you have upscaled versions of Wind Waker here. Then you have Soul Calibur 2. I'm sure this one is the one that has. Soul Calibur 2 had the customizable characters, and I'm sure they're going to show Link gameplay on this because Link. Yes, there he is. Because you could play as Link in this one. Do you remember that, Phoenix, where you could play as Spawn on the PlayStation one, or was it the Xbox one?
I do. By the way, I'm being a little quiet because they're literally cutting a tree 5 feet from the house right now. So if you hear anything, that's why I keep muting. But yeah, nice. I remember that. I think, they had, it wasn't like Yoda on one of them too. I think they had a whole bunch of different characters depending on the console that you had.
Yeah, I think it was.
Wait, did you say Yoda?
I think so. Yeah.
Yoda on a GameCube?
No. Every console had its own guest. So in this case, it was Link for the GameCube.
Oh, yes. I was going to say, huh?
Yes. The characters were, let's see. Let me make sure I got this.
But F-Zero, that one of the best F-Zero games of all time. So good. And the music was great in that. Such a good game. If you have not played that out there, that's the one to play today.
So Soul Calibur 2, the GameCube had Link, Xbox had Spawn, and PlayStation had Hihachi, which is pretty cool. So from Tekken, pretty fun stuff. Well, they can continue to chop down that tree, Phoenix. Appreciate the heads up on that. That's good. Okay, one of the other things about the Switch 2 that people have been really intrigued by was, do you remember like the Switch 2 welcome tour? The whole idea behind this. This is the demo
$10 one.
that they're charging $10 for. Well, it turns out if you want to be a completionist, it's going to cost way more than $10. You want to go through and beat the whole thing 100%, it's going to cost you a 4K TV and at least $95 of accessories to 100% right here. So, not only do you have to have the paid DLC, but they're also going to throw down another $95. So all in, you're looking at $500 to $600. I mean, how much is a 4K TV these days? What, $500, $600?
Probably.
Yeah.
So hang on, the welcome tour, right? Like, talk to me like I'm an idiot. The welcome tour was Lee explaining everything about the Switch 2. It was Lee like a demo, wasn't it? Why
yes.
is it? I still can't wrap my head around having to pay for that.
Yes. Yeah. It's I think a lot of people feel the exact same way.
Only Nintendo would do that.
Yeah, this is why, like, I was actually excited when I first saw, like, the Switch 2 announcements back in April. I was like, this is so cool. And then they started talking about the prices of everything, and everyone was just like, never mind. Because, like, dude, what the fuck?
So 3 mini games require specific equipment with a camera. So you need the camera, the Switch camera for 1 mini game, a controller with the GL and GR buttons for another mini game, and a 4K supported screen needed for 1 mini game, and a separate tech demo. So $10 for the game, $54 for the Switch 2 camera, and it probably needs to be the first party one as well. And then another $40 for the charging grip, or another $85 for the Switch 2 Pro controller that uses those buttons here. So yeah, one useful PSA here is that the Switch 2 does support third-party cameras, so you can get a hold of the USB.
You can get the Piranha one, yay!
Yes. that was was that in 480p or 360p
it was like
or something like that?
Some like 8-bit camera.
Yeah,
super, super shitty.
Might as well hook up your GameCube or your Game Boy camera to it. Oh, that can't wait for somebody to do that. So, well, the Switch 2 is here. And people are excited. And I think I may just go to Target today and just see if there's one lying around. Probably not. But
I don't know. I think you might be surprised. I'm telling you, this morning I took a look. I was expecting it, back order forever. And there was 3 right there at Best Buy. So I wouldn't be surprised. There may be a lot of people like you. No. I was just curious to see what's going on because I'm not personally that excited for it yet. I think I needed something that felt new. If they came out with a new Mario, with a really cool gimmick or something on there that really showcased the hardware, I may be interested. The Donkey Kong one looks, pretty good, but that comes out, I think, next month. Mario Kart, you can grab that anytime. And honestly, the longer the wait, the better. I'm sure there's going to be more updates, more courses that come out. Like, there's just nothing that makes me go, I need to do this right now,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. For me, I don't have that outside of seeing people on social media being like, look what I got. I don't have that like FOMO of like, I need to buy it right now.
Yeah, I don't have that FOMO.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm sure one will end up at my house in time. I'm sure we'll buy one as a company in time, when we do these events and such. But, right now, like I said, if I go out and I casually see one, okay, I may consider it. Let's get what are they? $500, $600, something like that? $600? $500?
Roughly 500, I think, comes with the Mario Kart. I think it's $450 without it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd only buy the bundle for sure. I think that's the way to go. So, yeah. What about you guys? Do you guys have one? Are you looking to buy one? Do you want to get one right now? Or are you willing to wait? Let us know, obviously, in the chat or the comments while you guys are tuning in.
Do you think that because it was released, technically speaking, on a Thursday in the USA, that some people are just going to wait until Friday, the weekend, to go, and then everything is going to be sold out?
Those who wanted to get it would have already gotten it.
Yes. But let's just say you're really busy, you got kids, you just didn't get a chance to do it. I feel like this weekend's gonna be pretty busy for the Switch 2. I feel like people are just gonna go and grab them.
But that's if they think that's if they think that anything's going to be in stock, though. Like that.
I mean,
That's
they
the
can
whole
always
thing.
go and look, right, and just be like, yeah, there it is. Let me grab it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna. I think there's a lot of people that are similar to Craig out there. I think this is more like an impulse buy. If you're out and about, you happen to see, you're like, you know what, screw it, let's do it. But I think the idea of seeking it out everywhere you can, trying to get your name on every list. I'm not really seeing that amongst at least the people in my community. I'm not seeing it around me.
Yeah, I hear you on that. It's funny because I go back to there's videos of a guy we used to work with called Game Jew who stood in line for the Wii back in 2006, and for me, it's one of my favorite videos on the internet ever because he stood in line for like 5 days, and in doing so, he stood in line in LA. And when he finally got it, it was one of those like, wow moments for him. And he stood there and his whole thing was, he's this like eclectic musician who sings songs about video games. And it was a fun little bit. But when he got the Wii, for him, it was like this life altering moment. It was like completion. I want to see if I can pull up this video. I know I have it laying around here. On my hard drive, but he was asked like, how long have you been waiting for the Wii? And he goes, since I was 9, and I that always like resonated with me, just saying that, well, I was 9, I've been waiting on this forever. So, actually I had the video pulled up. Let me show this really fast because this is the very, very end of it. And for me, this was really, really cool. So 4 days until the Wii. This is the whole thing sliced together, and you can see he was in the full like Mario setup here, going through tons of media surrounding him. This is in LA. This is 2006 vibes, right? With the video and stuff. The idea that this was being videoed was like a big deal. So he gets handed the Wii for the first time. Let's go and watch and see how he reacted here. By the way, the music on this was spectacular. It's the end theme from Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. It's just great. But watch how people like, and you saw this now, but people like cheering, yay, consumerism. It's like,
Yay!
How long did you wait?
I waited since 1991.
I gotta be honest though, like, huge difference though from the Wii to the Switch 2. Like the Wii was like groundbreaking, right? Totally different. The Switch 2, not really groundbreaking.
One of the things that people forget about the Wii, which made it so great, was like, yeah, there was motion control, but the thing that a lot of us, especially our age group, I'd say, was so cool was that they had the virtual console, and that the fact you could take that controller, flip it sideways, and it was kind of like an old Nintendo controller. Yeah. That was really a big to do. That was like one of the coolest moments in gaming areas.
I'm with you. It's the idea that not only can you play like this, but you can play it like this. Is like
you use this like a steering wheel, Mario Kart. They had the wheels and everything.
What would you guys say was the best? Like when you look back at all console releases and stuff, which one was the most iconic to you? That felt that had the most weight to it?
Yeah, the Wii for sure.
I agree.
Yeah. I can't really answer that because I've only ever paid attention to the Wii. I didn't have any of the other ones.
Yeah, the Wii felt like the biggest shift, for sure.
I had big FOMO for that one because I didn't get it until maybe a year after so it came out, I think. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I was always at a friend's house playing like Mario Party 8, I think it was back in the day. Mario Kart, things like that. And then I finally got my own and I was like, yes!
Was that your first console, Blabs?
No, so I had the PlayStation 1 as a kid. However, when I got the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2 had come out, and my friends had gifted us the PlayStation 1 because they got the 2. So it was already run down, used and everything. And then I'd go to GameStop and buy like the secondhand games of PlayStation 1 and things like that. So yeah, I never really paid attention to the launches of all these things because also I was really young too. So
right. I think. Yeah, a lot of people in the chat saying the PlayStation 2 was really big for them. And yeah, man, those late 90s, awesome, great time.
Fantavision, though, what a shitty launch game that was.
The
You know what I'm
hell's
talking
that?
about? Do you remember Fantavision? It was a fireworks game.
Huh?
I do remember that one. Yeah. Like not exactly a system seller, if you
No.
will. not the killer app everybody's looking for. Clips of the show all the time. The live show Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Hit that subscribe button right here.